1864, in the midst of the Civil War. Nearing the end of the war, both sides strategize how to outlast each other. The Confederacy have solid lines of defense and plan to keep their bases stocked with resources to whittle down the numbers of the Union troops. They plan to ambush the election of 1864 to reignite hope for the South. The Union, on the other hand, want to seize Confederate strongholds and cut out the flow of resources into the South. South of Virginia, William T. Sherman shows no mercy to the Confederate troops in Georgia. Wanting to capture an important rail and supply hub, Sherman's forces had to advance to Georgia.
War is the remedy that our enemies have chosen, and I say we give them what they want.
Of Lee's army was the first great object. With the capture of his army, Richmond would necessarily follow. I propose to fight it out on this line if it takes all summer.
On July 20th, 1864, at Atlanta, Sherman's forces battled the rebels now under command of General John B. Hood, who replaced General Joseph E. Johnston. July 22nd, 1864, Atlanta is captured by Sherman's army. After evacuation of the citizens, the army is left in flames by Sherman's forces. Atlanta is ours and fairly won, Sherman says in a telegram to Lincoln. The victory greatly helps President Lincoln's bid for re-election.
I will make this war as severe as possible and show no signs of tyranny until the South is literally begging for mercy. I intend to make them howl. Pleasure.
Leave Atlanta now or face the consequences.
Over my dead body, you Confederate worm. Hey!
So be it.
Hey, let's go!
The war has been difficult on both sides, and the North are losing interest in Abraham Lincoln as their president. Lincoln hopes to win the war for the sake of the Union. If he won the election, the South would have no hope to win the war. Democrats nominate George B. McClellan for president to run against Republican incumbent Abraham Lincoln on August 29, 1864. McClellan's campaign is all about ending the war. Without a breakthrough win within the war, Lincoln would be defeated. He doubted re-election since Grant was stuck in Northern Virginia and there was no end in sight. Finally, he got what he was hoping for. Philip Henry Sheridan's destruction of the Savannah Valley and the victory at Atlanta on July 22, 1864 greatly helps President Lincoln's bid for re-election by changing Northerners' views. On November 8, 1864, Abraham Lincoln is re-elected as president.
Man in this country, myself included, and that is to do whatever he can that will be best advanced for the great cause of saving our country.
Defeating Democrat George B. McClellan. Lincoln carries all but 3 states with 55% of the popular vote and 212 out of 233 electoral votes. I earnestly believed that the consequences of this day's work will be to the lasting advantage, if not the very salvation of the country, Lincoln tells supporters.
The country can have no difficulty in getting rid of me. On the contrary, I suppose I need not to hesitate to say here that if I shall appear to be the best way of concentrating and consolidating the forces upon the salvation of this country is to depend to use me further, I can say I do not shrink from it.
The war proved to be strenuous for men who were fighting. It was difficult to have enough food and ammunition supplies for the many battles. Disease coursed through the ranks and killed off many. Some women served in military hospitals, providing all the help they could. Often, it was not enough. Without the right tools and methods of treatment, many soldiers died in hospitals from disease, infection, other illnesses, and incorrect treatment. Some soldiers even refused treatment since they believed that there was a higher chance of dying in a hospital than on the battlefield. Children had to replace the men of the house in jobs and chores. A son or an older daughter often became a new parental figure in the house. Sometimes, a woman took the place of their husband in factories and other dangerous jobs. In the North, the economy was still intact due to the basis of industry. The South, however, suffered. Food was sometimes scarce, and they could not sell their products and materials as well as before. Clothing was hand-woven and of bad quality. It was difficult to keep up with the needs of the land and the families on both sides. Dear Krish, please come home. I miss you, and the kids are not doing so good without you. They're having to do so many chores and doing so many of your jobs. It's hard to keep up. I have to work in the factory just to get us by. The hours are horrendous, and the work is straining on me and the kids. Please come home. We miss you dearly. It's hardly the same without you.